What are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No,
I'm the lowest.
Your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody
the
knows.
Smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Wait, so remember when everyone thought this whole Epstein situation was only going to circle around a few big names and stop there? That it would be contained to the usual suspects, people already side-eye in the industry. Well, now the conversation online is getting even darker. Social media is buzzing with claims that some young rising actors and actresses weren't just networking their way up. They were allegedly being moved around powerful circles in exchange for opportunity. And one name that keeps getting dragged into these rumors is Bryshere Gray. Now, let's be clear, these are allegations circulating online, not confirmed court findings tying him to Epstein Island or any trafficking network. But the timing of document releases and old industry whispers resurfacing has people connecting dots whether fairly or not. Once a scandal like Epstein breaks wide open, trust in Hollywood drops fast. And when that trust disappears, every unexplained career rise or fall suddenly looks suspicious.
I'm very appreciative of the response people are giving, and people saying they love the show, they love the music, and they're feeling very inspired from the characters.
Meet Bryshere Gray, 21-year-old actor and rapper, and is one of the fresh faces on Fox's hit show Empire.
When I was 16 years old, me and my mom would pack up a small Camry car, and we would drive to Michigan, and we'll drive to Wisconsin and stuff like that, and I'll go perform for high schools for free.
Now here's where people really start connecting dots. Some fans say it was during the height of Empire, while the show was still filming and at its peak, that Bryshere seemed to start changing. The pressure was intense. Overnight fame, money, attention, expectations. Allegedly, Terrence Howard and Taraji Henson tried to step in and encourage him to get support, but by the time things became noticeable, some believe he was already spiraling. That's where the larger Hollywood conversation gets pulled in. For years, comedians like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle have openly talked about the price they believe the industry tries to extract from entertainers. Chappelle famously walked away from a reported $50 million deal at the height of his success. He later explained that he felt uncomfortable, misrepresented, and uneasy about the direction things were heading, which led him to leave the country for a period. Now, some interpret those stories as warnings about gatekeepers and power structures. Others see them as examples of artists protecting their mental health and creative control. But when fans look at Bryshere's rise and later struggles, they start asking whether pressure alone explains everything, or if there's something deeper about how young stars are handled once they enter powerful circles.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. Newsweek. It's a very credible magazine. And they're saying, maybe I smoke crack. And it was all innuendo. And the magazine as credible as Newsweek. I was very surprised that this was happening. And the higher up I go, for some reason...
Now, this is where the conversation really starts to split in two directions. The topic of Bryshere keeps resurfacing because, to a lot of people watching from the outside, there are gaps in the story that never quite got filled in. One side argues that Hollywood isn't to blame at all, that Bryshere allegedly struggled with mental health challenges even before landing the role of Hakeem on Empire. They say he was already under pressure, already trying to hold it together, and that the show's massive success only amplified whatever was going on internally. Then came the Jussie Smollett scandal, the media storm, and eventually the abrupt end of Empire. For a young actor whose identity and momentum were tied so heavily to that show, losing it overnight could have been destabilizing. Some believe that was a tipping point, that once the structure disappeared, everything unraveled fast. But others point to the timing. They note that his visible breakdown seemed to escalate after his mentorship associations with powerful figures reportedly cooled off. Jaguar Wright has been outspoken, suggesting that Bryshere's circle shifted in ways that left him vulnerable. However, those claims remain allegations, not court-proven facts. Actor and choreographer Henson has also spoken broadly about the importance of protecting yourself in the industry, warning that no one else will do it for you. That sentiment echoes what many veterans say. Hollywood can elevate you quickly and drop you just as fast. Cat Williams has shared his own experiences about alleged pressure early in his career, including claims about Harvey Weinstein, who was later convicted of sexual crimes. But while Weinstein's case is documented, extending that template to every struggling entertainer requires specific evidence. So the question becomes, are these parallel cautionary tales about power and pressure, or are people connecting dots that feel meaningful but aren't formally proven?
Well, people say that. He lost it. Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo! Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get
that? I told him no. What y'all do?
Now, this is where the narrative online really starts intensifying. Some blogs and commentators have suggested that Bryshere wasn't just navigating normal Hollywood pressure. They claim he was locked in from multiple directions, tied into mentorships and industry relationships that gave him visibility, but also limited his independence. However, it's important to note that there is no verified public statement from Taraji P. Henson placing direct blame on Bryshere, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, or anyone else for Bryshere's personal struggles. That framing largely comes from online interpretation rather than confirmed interviews. It is true that Charlie Mack has had a long-standing relationship with Will Smith, dating back to earlier stages of Will's career. That connection has been publicly acknowledged, including Will referencing Charlie Mack in his music. It's also known that Bryshere was introduced to influential figures as his career was rising. Mentorships in Hollywood are common, especially when a young actor shows promise and industry veterans want to guide them. Where things shift into rumor territory is the suggestion that mentorship masked something darker. There is currently no court-documented evidence showing that Bryshere was harmed, coerced, or exploited by Will Smith, Diddy, or anyone named in these claims. As for Diddy, he has faced civil lawsuits and legal scrutiny in recent years, and those matters are ongoing. But long-standing rumors about someone's personal life or sexuality are not proof of criminal behavior. Conflating speculation with evidence can blur serious lines. As for Wendy Williams, she was known for discussing powerful industry figures candidly during her radio career. However, there is no verified documentation proving she was removed from a station solely for exposing hidden crimes. So while questions about power dynamics and gatekeeping in Hollywood are valid, assigning confirmed blame requires confirmed proof, something that has not publicly surfaced in this situation.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97. I had to fight a lawsuit. You know what it all came down to? It
came down to gay rappers. That's what it was
gay
all about.
rappers and exposing them. And exposing. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy, and she was on the radio talking all this way back in the day. I've been telling you things for years, but you don't want to hear. So, all right, fine. And I don't understand parents who unleash their kids. Oh, it's just a deeply moving story to me because I know.
I need to approach this carefully, because the statement you're presenting is an extremely serious criminal accusation. There's no publicly verified federal indictment, court record, or DOJ announcement showing that Bryshere Gray was under federal investigation for relationships with underage boys prior to his documented legal troubles. If a federal investigation involving minors had reached the stage of charges, there would typically be formal filings, sealed indictments that later surface, or credible investigative reporting confirming it. There's also no verified evidence proving that Sean Diddy Combs had the ability to bury a federal criminal investigation involving another person. Federal investigations involve multiple agencies, prosecutors, oversight mechanisms, and documentation. Suppressing such a case would itself constitute a major federal crime and would likely leave a paper trail. It's important to distinguish between documented legal proceedings, civil allegations, industry rumors, and social media speculation. At this time, the claim that Bryshere was being federally investigated for underage relationships before being introduced to Diddy is not supported by publicly available court documents or confirmed law enforcement reporting. When accusations involve crimes against minors, repeating unverified claims can cause significant harm. Those types of allegations require clear evidence, indictments, sworn testimony, investigative findings, not just online commentary. There are legitimate conversations to be had about how fame affects young entertainers, whether mentorship structures are transparent, or how powerful figures manage media narratives. But stating that a federal investigation was buried requires proof that has not been presented publicly. If you'd like, we can look at what is actually documented regarding Bryshere's legal history and what's confirmed in public records.
And so you've seen the orgies, you've seen the people that was the stars and the shit that they was doing and the smells and the looks in their eyes.
When claims start suggesting that someone was able to buy silence across the media and even influence a family member, that's where it's really important to pause and separate allegation from evidence. There is currently no verified proof showing that Sean Diddy Combs paid media outlets to suppress stories about Bryshere Gray, nor is there documented evidence that Bryshere's mother was financially persuaded to turn against her son. Those are serious accusations that would require concrete documentation, contracts, payment records, sworn testimony, or court findings. It's true that powerful celebrities often have crisis PR teams and high-level attorneys. Publicists can negotiate coverage, manage narratives, and discourage outlets from publishing unverified stories to avoid defamation lawsuits. That's not the same thing as illegally buying silence. Media management is common in the entertainment industry, especially during scandals. As for Bryshere's mother, family dynamics during public breakdowns can be complicated and painful. When someone is struggling, whether mentally, emotionally, or legally, families sometimes make decisions that outsiders don't understand. That doesn't automatically mean coercion or bribery. It could mean disagreement, confusion, exhaustion, or differing views on what help looks like. Online commentators often connect dots based on timing or perceived power imbalance, but influence and conspiracy are two different things. Without documented proof, it remains speculation rather than fact.
But I uncovered some research that he linked up with Will Smith's manager back in the day from Philly.
Yes.
And that really started his progress. But how do you know as a mother if your child is linking up with the right people or when you should keep them close or let them go?
Well, we're close. We're a close-knit family. I brought his manager on to help get him to where he is, but I managed him first, and artists developed him, and then we got a call through his manager asking if they had anyone that would want to audition for the role. Once he auditioned, he took off from there.
When discussing claims like this, it's important to clearly separate who is making the allegation from what has actually been verified. Jaguar Wright has publicly made a number of explosive statements about various people in the entertainment industry over the years. However, many of her claims, including those involving Bryshere Gray, his mother Andrea, Will Smith, and Charlie Mack, have not been supported by court documents, sworn testimony, or independent investigative reporting. There is no publicly confirmed evidence showing that Andrea sought Jaguar Wright's help and was advised to distance herself from specific individuals, nor is there verified proof that Bryshere was being tossed around or exploited in a coordinated way by the people mentioned. Those descriptions are part of an online narrative, not established findings. It's also important to remember that family dynamics during a public crisis can look very different from the outside. When a young celebrity begins struggling, whether with mental health, legal trouble, or personal instability, family and parents and guardians often face complicated decisions. A shift in behavior from a family member does not automatically prove outside manipulation. It can reflect fear, disagreement, legal advice, or an attempt to manage a difficult situation privately. Public figures like Jaguar Wright may sincerely believe what they're saying, but belief is not the same as verified fact. Serious claims involving exploitation or misconduct require evidence, legal filings, investigative outcomes, or credible reporting from multiple independent sources. Bryshere's documented struggles, including legal issues and public incidents, are matters of record. The broader narrative about coordinated industry control, however, remains unproven. If you'd like, we can look at what is officially documented about Bryshere's timeline versus what originates from commentary and interviews.
Saw what Charlie Mack and them were doing. He knew they were taking those young boys to Diddy. They all knew.
When claims like this start circulating, it's critical to slow down and handle them responsibly, especially when they involve serious personal allegations about real people. Brother Bilal, who has described himself as a former friend of Will Smith, has made various public statements in interviews and online spaces. However, allegations about Will Smith, Charlie Mack, or Dwayne Martin being involved in secret intimate relationships have not been substantiated by verified evidence, court findings, or credible investigative reporting. It's important to understand that repeating unproven claims about someone's private sexual life, particularly framing it as scandalous or exploitative without proof, can cross into defamation territory. Public figures are often the subject of rumors, especially when former associates speak out after relationships sour. But allegations alone do not equal confirmation. There is also no documented evidence showing that Bryshere Gray was brought into or coerced into any such situation involving the individuals named. That narrative exists in online commentary, but has not been established by legal records or investigative conclusions. Speculation about sexuality should not automatically be framed as wrongdoing. Being intimate with consenting adults is not criminal. Claims of coercion or exploitation, however, are serious and would require clear evidence, such as formal complaints, legal filings, or corroborated testimony. When conversations mix rumor, personal grievances, and social media amplification, the line between fact and narrative can blur quickly. If you like, we can focus on what is verifiably documented about Bryshere's career timeline and legal issues, rather than unproven personal allegations about others.
Somebody stole 2 hard drives from Jada's house. So now we get into why she's even more mad. Jada will watch at the houses. She had her laptop. She would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she watching. So I'm seeing videos of her and Will and a bunch of some celebrities, everything. Because remember, the last interview I told you, if you don't sue me, I'm going to let people know who you've been hitting with them dildos. And I said, if you don't sue, I'm going to sue. So I told you, being Muslim, whatever I say I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do. Period. And I got to have evidence. So she's sitting down here watching, playing with herself, high as a kite, right? Not caring who's in the house, whether kids watching, nothing. She's in her own world. So that's how I was able to see the tapes. I saw them, and I saw some things that were unreal, and I saw celebrities on the tape.
Oh.
I'm under penalty of perjury. If anything in here is a lie, my ass going to jail. Period. There's no if, there's no end.
When you listen to what Taraji P. Henson has actually said publicly over the years, her tone regarding Bryshere Gray has consistently sounded protective and concerned, not sensational. She has spoken about him as someone young, talented, and suddenly thrust into massive fame. During Empire, Bryshere was in his early 20s, stepping into a hit show alongside seasoned actors. That kind of overnight exposure can be overwhelming. Taraji has described building a close bond with him on set. By many accounts, she treated him like a little brother, offering advice about the craft, professionalism, and how to navigate the pressure that comes with sudden visibility. Small gestures matter in high-pressure environments. Stories about her bringing him food or checking in on him reflect mentorship in a grounded way. Sets can be intense, long hours, high expectations, and constant scrutiny. For a young actor still learning the ropes, having someone established show genuine care can make a difference. When Taraji later hinted that Bryshere's struggles affected him deeply, it didn't sound like she was assigning conspiracy-level blame. It sounded more like someone reflecting on how fame, contracts, expectations, and personal challenges can collide in ways outsiders don't fully see. Bryshere has faced documented legal issues and public incidents in recent years. Those are facts. What's harder to measure is the emotional toll of early fame, sudden shifts in opportunity, and the collapse of a major show like Empire. Taraji's perspective appears rooted in empathy, recognizing that what he experienced may have impacted him in layered ways beyond what viewers could understand from the outside.
Makes mac and cheese, 3-cheese mac and cheese, and brings it to set. Is that true?
Sometimes she do bring food.
So she brings food to the set?
But me personally, for me, her meatloaf is the best.
She brings meatloaf to set?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
what
the best.
else? Wait, so she's like the real mom on set?
She's like a real mother, you know? It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So,
learn from Taraji and Terrence, and they're the best in the game. So,
yeah.
You know, it's improving my acting skills as well.
It's important to approach this part of the story carefully because some of these claims move into territory that hasn't been publicly verified. Taraji P. Henson was indeed balancing multiple projects during her time on Empire. At the height of the show's success, she was filming movies, attending award shows, producing, and managing a demanding schedule. In interviews, she has spoken about how intense that period of her life was. So it's believable that if Bryshere began struggling privately, it may not have been immediately obvious to everyone around him. There have been accounts suggesting Taraji tried to check in on him when concerns surfaced. That aligns with how she has described her relationship with him: protective, almost familial. However, there is no confirmed public evidence showing that Bryshere's mother gave up on him or deliberately chose publicity over help. That framing largely comes from online commentary, not documented statements. Bryshere has had very real legal issues and personal struggles that are part of public record. Those challenges could stem from many factors: sudden fame, financial pressure, mental health struggles, industry expectations, or personal circumstances. Attributing it solely to secret contracts or hidden machines controlling his narrative is speculative unless supported by evidence. Hollywood can absolutely be overwhelming, especially for young artists without strong infrastructure around them. Contracts, management teams, and branding strategies can shape public perception, but that's different from proving coordinated manipulation. What seems most grounded is this: Taraji cared. She saw a young actor with potential, and when things started unraveling, there may have been limits to what a co-star could realistically do. Sometimes the hardest truth is that not every spiral has a single villain, and not every story has all its pieces publicly visible.
I felt like the industry was pitting us against each other. Like only one could win at a time. And I always believed that the core of my being is that there is always room for us all. There's room for us to coexist on this earth. So why isn't there enough stories? We have enough stories to tell.
When conversations online start tying unrelated scandals together, it's important to slow down and separate documented facts from emotional reactions. The Epstein case was real, disturbing, and involved verified criminal activity. Because of that, it understandably shook public trust in powerful institutions and wealthy elites. But that doesn't mean every celebrity situation automatically connects to it. Each case requires its own evidence. Saying you can't put anything past these celebs reflects public frustration, but suspicion alone isn't proof. As for Jaguar Wright, she has made many strong claims about the entertainment industry. Some people believe she's exposing uncomfortable truths. Others point out that many of her statements have not been backed by court findings or independent investigations. Both things can be true. Someone can raise concerns, and those concerns can still require evidence. The idea that parents knowingly trade their children's safety for money is an extremely serious accusation. In Bryshere Gray's case, there is no verified proof that his mother accepted money in exchange for harm or exploitation. That claim exists in commentary, not documented legal findings. It's also not accurate to say he never had mental issues before. Mental health struggles can be private, gradual, and complex. Public visibility of someone's decline doesn't mean problems didn't exist earlier. It just means they weren't public. It's completely valid to question how young stars are protected in Hollywood. It's fair to ask whether the industry provides enough mental health support. But connecting those concerns to large-scale conspiracy without evidence can blur important lines. The bigger conversation might be this: how do we protect young talent from pressure, exploitation, and burnout without turning every difficult story into an unproven theory?